So hello everyone and welcome to Quick Start Sudowrite in non-English languages. My name is Dahlia and I've been using Sudowrite now almost 2 years to plan, write and revise my novels, and I primarily write in German. My main genres are fantasy, romance and thriller. I'm excited to be hosting this session alongside with Manon Doucet, a passionate writer and teacher from Canada. And before we dive in, Manon, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, I'm Manon, and I'm a published author. I have a couple of niches. I have my own publishing house. I find myself very, very busy. I have a very big open mind, so I can go from children to erotic. That's me. Going through even the non-fiction and self-help.
Yeah, you're a, what's it called in English? Jack of all trades, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is exactly that.
Oh. So then let's start a little about what this session is about. These quick start sessions are designed for those who are new to Sudowrite or returning after a long break and want to get up to speed. Step by step, you'll learn the essential basics to start using Sudowrite's features effectively in this kind of class. In this session, you'll learn how to set up Sudowrite to work in your language. And we have some topics prepared. This class is focused on your questions, so we can tailor it to your current needs. So don't be shy and drop your questions in the chat. And so that you can focus on listening and rather than rushing to take notes, I've prepared a class document where I'll be sharing the results of today's class. It's rather empty right now, but after this class, I will fill it up with everything important that we did today. So there it is. So to give you some time to formulate your questions, we will start out with a short interface tour, and then I'll show you my workflow setting up a new project so that you see the basics in action. But first of all, here's the magic formula you want to jot down. Write all contents in your language. This nudges Sudowrite to respond in your language instead of defaulting to English. You can use it in key details, guided write, beat headers, story Bible boxes, basically anywhere you want Sudowrite to generate text in your language. If you're wondering what exactly I'm just talking about, let's switch over to Sudowrite and I'll show you. So over here. There are several ways you can write in Sudowrite. You can use the write button up here. Essentially, write works by reading the text before the cursor and continuing it logically while considering your prompt, instructions, or the story pattern. If you use auto write, you can put informations and instructions in the key details box. If you're using guided write, you can do the same thing here in this guided write prompt box. And you can also put the magical formula in there, but since the space in these boxes is very limited, I would advise you to just activate here the story Bible and put the prompt into style. I'll show you how to do this later. This way, you can make sure that at least the write button, since it sees the story Bible, knows that you want output in your language. So these are the basics for getting Sudowrite to work in your language. Before I dive in and show you more of my workflow, do you have any questions? And I see Manon has.
Yeah, I really like to know what language are we dealing with today?
Today I'll be writing in German, since that's my language, so I can judge if the output is actually working. But if you have a language that you want to try, we can try this out as well.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. I want to know our student, what language are they want to write in? Because I write in French, Alia write in English, in German. So who else do we have on this call? I think we have Spanish.
Yeah.
So Giuseppe
Look,
is Matthias and Peter, if you can tell us. And then we
Italian.
have Italian.
Italian. Finnish.
Hello, by the way.
Hello, thank you for coming. So Finnish, Italian, and Spanish, German.
I have German too.
Yeah.
All right.
Yay.
Have a new language we haven't worked with before. It's Finnish.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe we can play around with this a bit later.
Mm-hmm.
But
Perfect.
first of all, I will talk a bit about the Story Bible, which is here. It's the place where you can basically store all your story information, from a general brain dump to genre, style, synopsis, characters, world building, and outline. Since this is a new project, it's fairly empty. I make sure to put the magic formula in brain dump, genre, style, synopsis, and once we get there, into the chapter summary box. Why? Because every time you generate something, Sudowrite pulls from different boxes. The more places the prompt appears, the more likely it is that Sudowrite will follow suit. I also have a little overview that you can see here, how all the boxes are related to each other. For example, when generating characters or world building, Sudowrite only looks at synopsis. So if you have the style only added, if you have only added the prompt to the style where it seems to make the most sense to put language instruction, it wouldn't be enough on its own. And adding it to multiple sections ensures better consistency for it to work. So this is like the basics about the Story Bible. And now I would jump to back to Sudowrite and into my workflow. Okay. So my general workflow starts with a brain dump, where I drop everything I already know about the project. In this case, a short elevator pitch for fake dating enemies to lovers romance, as I've said here in the genre. Since I assume that, well, I know that the majority of you don't understand German, I also have this translated to English. So this is about the aspiring actress Lena. She needs the perfect image to land her first big role. And the arrogant yet stunningly handsome pro athlete Ben needs a fake girlfriend to fix his bad boy reputation. Reluctantly, they strike a deal. 6 months of fake dating and pretending. But the longer they keep up the act, the more real the lies start to feel. So that's just a short little concept for, well, a romance, and depending on how you write it, could be romantic comedy. And that's in general enough for Sudowrite to give you the basic of a story. And as you can see, I added this little write out contents in German down here, and I also added it here. And the genre box is the place where you basically define what kind of story you're writing. And I prefer to be more precise and go down to the niches and the tropes instead of just saying romance, since romance is very broad and AI tends to put in a lot of cliches if you're sticking with something that's rather like with a broad genre like romance or fantasy. So it's always better in my experience to niche it down a bit. The next box is the style, and this box determines how the story is written. You can choose between featured styles, where you have this list with 6 different styles, and they all have the description, what they're good for, and a writing sample. You can choose this one, or you can use this Match My Style feature, where you can copy in 2,000 words of your own writing and have this analyzed to create a style that matches your voice. This works quite well, but depending on your language, like in German, since the AI, or maybe it's just Sudowrite, tend to count every umlaut as its own word, or like a word break. So it works better with like 1,500 words. Since it just tends to miscalculate the number of words you actually use. I personally like to use a custom style where you can just fill this out how you like it. Since by now I have a standard style that I like to use that is inspired by techniques that I picked up in a class by fellow teacher Stacy. And I just will copy this in. And it helps me to have the like introspective and very close style and voice to the character's thoughts. That's something I really like to read about. So I also want my texts to be written in a very subjective viewpoint and very immersive. Now that you have filled out these 3 boxes, we get to the part where we start to like generate stuff. And the first thing we can generate is the synopsis, which is basically a summary of your story. And we do this by hitting this little button and wait a little while. And as you can see, it starts writing beautifully in German. And it's also quite fast this time. Sometimes it takes a little longer. And now it wrote 450 word summary of the story. This is fun. Our poor bad boys. And oh my. Something that's, if you keep in mind, if you're writing in basically any language, is the AI tends to go for the very cliche name, like here, Müller or Schneider, which are like typical German names. And I've seen the same with Italian or French. They have like this, and also in English, to be honest, like every bad boy is called Blackwood. So if it comes to names, one option I like to use is, I hope it works today. We had issues with this through the week, is using quick chat. And you can just ask this for like Müller. I will write this in German. Basically, I'm going to ask that, tell it that Müller and Schneider are very cliche names and that I'd like to have more creative ones. And the nice thing about quick chat is that it understands basically all languages that I tested so far, and it's good answering in the language. In my experience, also the quick edit feature, which is basically a rewrite tool, also works more reliably in German than the actual rewrite that you find at the top of this year. And this little looking at this, a quick chat can look at the documents. Now here are not many documents, and it looks at, I think, genre style, synopsis, characters, and world building. And therefore you can chat with this tool about your story quite well. If it's working, we had some bugs recently. And considering how long it is looking at this, I fear that I have to come up myself with alternate names to Müller and Schneider. Or just stick with them for the demonstration's sake. While this is working on my question, do you have any questions so far? Doesn't look like this. That's good. But if you have any questions, feel free to just drop them in the chat so that we can get back to them. Ah, yeah, it's not working. I have to come up with great ideas for last names. Oh, well, oh my, let's just stick with the boring names. So we have this synopsis here. And in case this would be a bad synopsis, and sometimes it happens that it doesn't finish the synopsis, you can always use this rewrite tool to end this and to change anything about the synopsis you want to have changed. And based on this synopsis, oh, and one thing that we should not forget is to put this also at the bottom here, since this is all that will be looked at when we generate our cast now. And you can either just go here and create the whole cast. That's something I usually use if I don't already have a good idea of what kind of characters I want in my story. If I've already worked on the characters, I usually use this little import. And something else before we generate, you can also customize your cards. In this case, they're all in English, since I also teach classes in English and not only in German. But you can just translate them into your language. That helps with it being more consistent. And then you can just save them. And then custom styles are for all your projects in your account. We are hoping that we get the ability to have templates for different character types anytime soon-ish, since that would help a lot of us to craft our characters better. But let's now go and generate our cast. And while this is generating, that might take some time. Are there any questions in the chat?
You could also generate one character at a time instead of having the whole thing generate in one shot.
Yeah, that's also true. You can do this here.
Yeah. So
and just tell it what kind of character you want.
Yeah. If you bring your own story in and you're not like starting from scratch in Sudowrite, you have already a manuscript written in your language. Obviously, if you've seen my class on import project in progress, you'll know how to do it. And once it's imported, everything is done and it's free so far. So if you have project that you want to import into the right, do it before they start charging, because it's doing a lot of work for you when it's doing the importation of a project, even if it's just chapter 1.
Yeah, and it works, but it doesn't work 100% reliably that you get German or whatever your language is output. But there's always the possibility to use rewrite, to have it translated, or to use quick chat to have the output translated. But here we see we got everything beautifully in German. Or at least I can tell you it's nice German. Yeah. Our sports guy, it doesn't say what kind of sport, but since it's German, it's possibly football. And Marco and some supporting characters. They all have so typical, well, yeah, they have German names, they're German, so that makes sense. Mark. Then we got quite a lot of characters so that we can work with them. And this way you can close and open them so that it's a bit more orderly. Usually I would go through each character and make sure they're exactly like I want them to be, but that likely take more than this class is supposed to last. So we'll just take a little look at yeah. These fields are defaults. This is for your pronouns to make sure that the AI knows whether your Alex is a he, she, or they. Then you can assign groups to characters and also nicknames and other kind of alias that may be relevant. And if you are missing any trait, you can add it just here, like motivation. And then you can go with fill this in, and it will look at, and you may tell it something, how you want the character to be motivated. I just say, look at it and make it make sense. And thank you. And that usually also works very reliably in your language if you have the little prompt in the fields. Are there any questions about characters? There's a lot you could say about them, but yeah. But most topics in Sudowrite, you could talk just hours about them. And if there are no question right now, we could take a look at world building, which is also generated based on the synopsis. And you can also create your own custom, like stuff like football team, like your whole custom categories. You can just type something in and then it will make a new thing for you, or you can edit all the existing word building card templates. That was the word I was looking for. That way you can basically tailor this all to your needs to make it perfect to what you want to have in your story. Similar to characters, you can just go generate one, like here setting. The city where the story takes place. You can get as detailed as you want in here. And then you can go and it will start generating your element. Any questions? Oh, that's fine. Oh my God, Berlin. I mean, I had expected it would come up with some unique thing, except just going with the capital, Herzen. I'm currently wondering if you would technically say that it's like im Herzen, like it's, no. Like im Herzen is like in the heart of Germany, but I'm not sure if I would say this about Berlin's actual location, but emotionally, I think that's true for a lot of people. And I think Berlin works well as a setting for the Romans starring an actress and probably football player. Although I'm not sure if Berlin has a good football team. I'm not really that knowledgeable with football. But similar to this, you can just create as many world building items as you want, which is especially useful if you're writing fantasy and such. And now that you have this, you can go and generate your outline. And here you can choose between several outline types, or you can choose custom, where you can give it your own instructions. But for our Romans, it makes a lot of sense just to stick with the Romans outline. And then you can just click this and it will look at your characters and your world building and your synopsis and the genre, and then build upon this an outline for you. This is also one of those generations that may take a little time. So if there are any questions, feel free to ask them now.
I think that's a bit of slow poke with Sudowrite. I'm having a problem on my side too.
Yeah, currently it's always taking a while for everything. I'm wondering if they're working on something on the back end. That's the reason. It's taking a bit longer.
We are asking quite a lot to the model of AI, as we have so many models going on and they are asking more and more out of them, so which slow down the system.
Yeah,
and
I just hope it works.
Too. That's you're doing the outline, so the outline is looking to a lot of information since word building. Yeah.
It always takes a little bit. I just hope it doesn't stall out on us. I at least just want to show you a glimpse of the outline that hopefully gets finished. There it is. There it is. And that way we got our little outline that is organized by acts and chapters. We have a total of 24 chapters. That's the usual you get for the Romans outline. And in all of the boxes, you have this field to give the chapter a name. And this is for the summary that you can also rewrite if you don't like it. And if we assume you like it, you can create a chapter based on this. And now you're basically ready to start writing.
Can you answer a question before you go further?
I didn't have much to go further, so I can just answer the question. All I had to say is that you can now either use chapter generator or the write button to write your story.
So when I write a third person limited or to one character, you often only learn details about the location, etc. in the course of the story. To hide this, is there an option to hide this information from the AI? Is there a possibility to say directly to the AI, I want to say that part about the character only in chapter 6.
The best bet is to go and use this feature here to hide information completely. Since AI is bad at keeping secrets, even if you tell it, the character doesn't know this until chapter 6. I mean, some of the newer models may not just spill the secret, like, but he doesn't know this yet in this way. But to be on the safe side, I would just hide everything from the AI that is not supposed to know yet. You may also put knowledge into the character card and hide it in there. But at least how it's built now, I'm not certain that something like he learns in chapter 6, doesn't this happen, would actually work with, at least not with every model. So I would just, but I'm also control freak and like to just make sure that the AI only knows what I wanted to know. So that was everything that I wanted to show you today. As I had already said, from here on, you can go either this way with the chapter generator, but as a little teaser, this will change probably on the 27th. So I'm not sure if it's worth. I always have to make sure that I say worth and not worse to show this to you today. But something that also an option is to go and use the write feature to write your story. And I hope that won't change much in the future because that's the main way I'm writing. But if there are no questions left for me to answer, I would, now I'm looking for the right expression in English and I can't think of it. I would hand this over to Manon. We have this like this, den Staffelstab übergeben, but I don't know how to say this in English. Like if this were a race, I would just give it to you.
Stop sharing.
Yeah. Where do I stop sharing? There it is. Now you should see me instead of my screen so that now Manon can share first.
So can they see my screen?
I can see it now.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So we already did the introduction of Dahlia for the non-English section of our class. So as I said earlier, we have the English, the French, the Spanish, the German, the Italian, and today we also have the Finnish. That's a new one for us. I would have to update that slide. So these texts are designed, okay, Sudowrite multi-language class. So we're doing these class to help you to deal with Sudowrite and handle different language, the style adaptation and the storytelling techniques. So again, the language, I did update this one. So I was fast enough for this one. So we did already the small introduction, writing goals, explain what the class would cover because we are working together. So we are splitting the class. So for my part, normally it's all in French, but I do love writing and testing in your language. Explain the AI, the strength and limitation. You have seen a bit of that with Dahlia. I'm going to show you a few prompts to play with Sudowrite. Example of the tone and style, fix a common issue like handling unnatural phrasing and mistranslation. I will show you how to use Sudowrite to translate. If you have a text in English or in a different language and you want to translate inside your language, I will show you how to do that. I'm going to have live example we just did, and I will show you more, adjusting the setting, the prompt, the base, encouraging, and we're going to do that. All right. And we're going to have the Q&A at the end. And just to make sure I have that part to say, thank you for joining us today at Sudowrite Multilanguage and all that. The important part is this: we need your feedback. Okay, what's happened with my last slide? Doesn't want to show up. Hey, that's funny. All right, so where's my slide? Okay, my slide had disappeared. Okay, so I had something to tell you that at the end, you're going to receive an email, and in French is a courriel, that will ask you how the class was. I want to point out to some of you to be careful when you go and put the star rating. You think you click on 5 and some email provider, even if we put a 5 in the star, and when you get to our system, you show as a 1 with a very ugly red face. So my demand to you is write something in the box. Say, I love it, I hate it, it was perfect. I'd like to learn more about something so that we can actually grow from your feedback, because we used to go and email you back and says, what did we did wrong in the class, because everybody was happy with the class. And we got slap on our fingers as do not do that. So then we end up with negative feedback and we have no idea what happened. We kind of know what happened, but it's how would I say that, Dahlia? Did I say that all right?
Yeah, you said that all right. It's always like this angry face looks always a bit scary when you get it. And it's also a bit counterintuitive in this email, since I think the best rating is where you would usually click if you want to give something 1 star. So
Yeah.
it's a bit confusing. So just make sure that you're actually clicking on the rating that you want to give.
Yeah, perfect. I'm going to reduce this, make sure we see the right page. Okay, so far we have, I sent the note in the chat, so you have all my presentation in it, or you won't have time to show everything. So I did a few examples that you can play with on your own. So let's start with my little test that I put together. So what I did, and I did use 2 different models. So let's get here. So write a short paragraph in French describing a peaceful morning in a countryside village. So this is if you have a story already built up and you want to change something inside your story. I want to show you how to go inside your story and change it. So that's what it is about right now. So let's see, like descriptive writing, setting the scene. So the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shade of crimson and gold. A cool breeze rustled through the trees and all that. So try translating into your language. How would you go about that? So one thing that we can do, we can highlight it. We can go in quick edit. We can go in quick chat and simply ask to write. Oh, count. I put this one because it's the easiest one to remember. Instead of changing the Grinch. Instead of changing, it says translate in French. I like to say this one, and normally it's giving me a much better thing than having to say translate in French or translate into language. So by highlighting it, it's supposed to know this is what I'm looking for. And if you can also take, now it's a little bit too late. Let's see, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to show you 2 different ways. You can do it this way, or someone in the chat was asking about that. Can we put the information in bracket like this before we ask like the right rewrite and things like that? Same thing. So if I copy all that, go in my quick edit again, quick chat, I can pass it in and say go. And it is very, very slow. screen. Very slow. Come on. It's a bit hard to teach a class when the AI is that slow, huh? Let's close a few things.
Yeah, yeah. Cats also just ask about quick chat being so slow recently, but there's a weird bug going on that's not. It
I'm going to
doesn't seem to fail every time, but it fails often enough
yeah,
that I just make
they
sure that I
have
have my prompt copied out before I send
yeah.
hit send what language.
Wow. Okay, we do have a problem right now. Normally it's very, very fast. Right now it's, I don't know why it's so slow. We don't hear his trumpet, but we heard him when he was talking. Okay, that's too slow, but let's put it in here for you eventually to test this. Okay, good chat, good chat. We'll try to do that again. I'm not sure why it's not. I wonder if it's going to work better if I put it into the pay mode. So there's something going on with the quick chat. Let's go on then. Oh, but I just click on write key details. All right, so that's the other test I was going to do. I didn't even put any, I think I did, yeah. I think I did yesterday. I put in my key details to write everything in French. So on top of having it here. All right, so let's pass along the quick chat. I cannot teach because it's not answering anything right now. Oh boy, I love getting things on the go like this. So for me, in my right button, see there's error in the bottom. I don't know if you see that there. So in my right details, I go in my right settings. I think you show that, right, Dahlia?
I think just very quickly, so
Okay.
I think it's
So
good to go over it once more, a bit more.
perfect. So in the right setting, make sure you put your language. In the key detail, write all content in French or all in Finnish, which I'm curious what that's going to look like. We have all those new models that we can play with. So I like to try both. I like to try the the basic to see how it's going to work out. And I like to try the new one, the DeepSeek. So let's try the Finnish. And is the person who speaks Finnish still with us? Person still with us? I don't see anybody talking or anything at all with this
Yeah.
new version. We see
Nothing in the chat, but
okay. So
according to the list of people who are here, she should still be here. Maybe she's
so let's see if
AFK
it's
for a
going.
moment. We were just asking if the Finnish-speaking person was still here. Yeah, the Finn is here.
All right. I'm trying to see if it's going to write in Finnish. Okay, detail. I put this. Did I write finish the right way? So let's see if it's going to give me the Finnish language. That's definitely not French or English.
Yes, oh nice is the reaction. So it's to my layman eye, it also looks very Finnish.
Okay, perfect.
From what I know from trying to learn Finnish with Duolingo for like 2 days.
Oh, we have that new comment thing showing up. Can you
Yeah,
explain?
this is a little teaser, which currently only ambassadors can use. It's so that you can add comments, and you can, what you can already do is go into the document that I think I shared my document before this was possible, but the one that Manon shared should have the possibility that you could leave notes and comments in it for her to see. And with this little button, they would show up here. They would show up on the right side. I was just showing this with my mouse, but you cannot see my mouse. So that was quite useless.
What do we do with that? So we highlight the new comment shows up, and where is it supposed to show up after that?
It would show up on the right side of the editor. I think if you click this and type something in,
you just click save. I don't see anything else popping up.
Click on this. No, there's on the toolbar at the top is this little lower. This next to the formatting thing for headings in this, and where you can do the bold italics, there's this little speech bubble. Yes, and then you can open the comment mode, and then you have this comment mode at the side. And this way you can leave comment on your own document. And if you share this document, people can leave comments on them as well.
Ah, interesting. So that one works.
I just go to you've shared this, so I will go to your document, to this test thing, and I will try to leave a comment. Which should show up on your screen if you, now I have to find Zoom again.
So you put a comment in here, so the student
put a little comment, and if you should see it if you go on comment mode and refresh it, refresh the page, and then it should be showing up.
Ah, there you go. Interesting. So now you can ask question when you receive.
Yeah, this is very useful for getting feedback, and if there's something not clear, and if it's better, what you just did, you can resolve this with this little check mark, and the comment vanishes. And you can also reply, talk back and forth, which is quite fun. It's fun. Still a bit it's in the beta because there are a few things that don't work that well yet.
Yeah.
But for me, I really missed a feature where I could just leave long comments for myself about stuff I want to change. So it's really helpful. And also for beta reading, if you share stuff, this will also be a game changer.
All right. So going back to what I was showing, that's nice that we have little note that we can actually see what the student is asking even after the class is done. It's nice to see that. So I just show how to translate the passage that you have. You can the same vein, you can say rewrite in that language, expand and all that. So it's all there. Definitely this is a lifesaver to do a lot of things on other language. And I strongly suggest that you try normally 2 of those models, because the difference between the 2 is like almost night and day. And it's very interesting to see the difference in the translation and the tone. And that's one thing that was putting down in here. So one of the things that I was going to try to show is when you introduce a character inside the story, ask Sudowrite to continue a story in a different language can also be asked. So she arrived, like this part here. So take this, and we're going to start a new test for that one. Because if not, Sudowrite is looking everywhere to do things. So what we are asking is, in the writing, is to finish the story in a different language. So ask Sudowrite to continue a story in a different language. Experiment with different, like mystery, comedy, and fantasy. We have something similar to that also under the right button, which is basically shift the tone. That can be also used. So continue, let's see, continue in, at that point we can ask something else. So go back on to that showing. And here in bracket, we're going to say continue in French, and we can ask for a different tone or leave it as that. So let's see if we leave it at that, what is going to do. So we have autocomplete. We have our little information here, and see if it's going to follow what we ask. So it's continuing the story in French from the English version. So I'm going to go underneath here so you can all see that. So she arrived in town just before midnight, stepping off the last train with nothing but the leather suitcase and a knowing smile. No one knew her name, but there we go. But where am I? But there was something in her eyes, a secret, a promise, or perhaps a warning. Elle arriva en ville juste avant minuit, descendant du dernier train avec rien qu'une valise. So it kind of continued, but also took the little paragraph and rewrite it in that. So it did translate that on top of it. So it just didn't continue the story. It kind of took the part of the start and then continued the story. And he did a pretty good job at it. Bonsoir, mademoiselle. So he's having a very nice French. And this one is the 4.0, I believe that I put, no, DeepSeek. DeepSeek is very, very good because what I don't like is the tags. When you do use the cheaper version, and if you do use the cheaper version, and you're going to see those tags are very annoying after a dialogue. And it says make no sense, and it's not even translate properly. And what my suggestion is get a bit of a higher model to write in your language to get the proper tag at the end. Because with the cheap one, it would have said here, bonsoir mademoiselle, elle dit. And here it says, bonsoir mademoiselle, dit-il, sa voix un peu rauque. So this is the proper way of saying it, but with a cheaper one, you would have turned it around, like basically a direct translation, which sounds very, very bad to our ears. And I saw that in every language. So any question on that?
Chat is clear. No
Good.
question. But I can agree that some of the cheaper models just sound like it's a word by word translation from English into German, and you have some bit awkward sentences.
Yeah.
So
So when
yeah.
I write in French, I use a cheap one to see what kind of story is going to give me, because I already have my beat and everything else. But I just for the tags, it's not worth my credit to use it like the basic one, because I know already that I would have to rewrite all the tags in a proper language. So I like DeepSeek is doing very good, and frankly, as far as I'm concerned, is using the same amount of credit, is having more information that is giving us here. So we have more part of the unfiltered that is higher is following the instruction better if you use the DeepSeek intent. So you can see here we have 5 and 4, and on the other one we have less. So these are interesting to look at it. If you see that it's not listening to you in a cheaper language, look at the other one, which is using the same amount of credit, but is going to listen better to your instruction and is going to be able to. The unfiltered here is because there's a lot less red flag, like if you want to have sex scene, crime and things like that, that the AI don't like to write about. This is why the unfiltered here is very important. Do you want to add something to this, Dahlia?
That's perfect. Summed up.
Okay. So we
And I
already
also really like the DeepSeek models so far for German. It's a bit more flowery, but overall, in my opinion, better than basic, and
so
still cheaper. So
let's see if we can do something here, showing the other one here, the switch, the tone shift. So if we go from conflicted, maybe. So place your cursor at the end of the chapter in the text and write. Okay, the more the text in the dark. So let's see if it's going to be more conflicted, because right now it says during that time, Léa opened the door for a room, referred doucement to derrière elle, posa sa valise par terre. So basically she arrived in town in her hotel room and things like that. So I want to know if it's going to use the French version and do the conflicted there. So these are something we use a whole lot. Yes.
yeah, while we were waiting for it to write, there was a question about how many credits does Sonnet cost to use. So maybe we could try Sonnet next as a comparison.
Yeah. So il posait sa valise par terre, la chambre était simple avec des murs peints en beige, lit étroit recouvert d'un drap blanc, blablabla. Léa s'approcha de sa fenêtre. C'était un pavé humide. Elle soupira doucement, puis ferma les rideaux, s'assit sur le lit. Elle porta la main à son front pour chasser une pensée importune. All right, so this is where the conflict is starting about the swing between the tone of the story. So they don't have a whole lot of tone. Maybe I don't know what they will do on the central part. Let's see for the fun of it. Maybe she's going to lay down on bed and start doing something else. Tremblant la main, les mots et les avait trouvant. Let's see. I'm going to put it here so we can look at it. So here she's shaking. She says basically they will find you. Ils vous trouveront résonnait dans son esprit comme une menace imminente. Elle jeta un regard affolé autour de sa chambre, presque pour voir la silhouette se détacher de l'ombre. Mais la pièce était silencieuse, éclairée seulement de la faible lueur des réverbères filtrant à travers les rideaux. Elle s'approcha de sa porte, l'oreille collée sur le bois pour écouter. Rien. Pas un bruit. Pourtant, son cœur battait à tout rompre, comme s'il était brisé chaque pulsation. Elle déclutina difficilement la gorge sèche, malgré l'eau qu'elle avait bu quelques instants auparavant. Les mains tremblaient légèrement lorsqu'elle s'approcha de sa valise. Elle l'ouvrit brusquement, fourrant. So he has some more open words for the French language here, fourrant. Ses affaires dedans sans soin, les vêtements s'entassaient en désordre, le petit sac à main en cuir jeté à côté de son contenu, s'éparpillait sur le lit. Elle ramassa vite les objets échappés. Okay. Elle referma sa valise, claquant. So it's changing the tone a little bit. Definitely, if I give him a scene, which will make more sense to, but the words are changing a bit, so they are more sensual. So émecta s'élève, that's more sensual. They probably will not use that into a quick one. This is a sensual kind of sentence right there. So it's very, it's not drastic as a change of tone, but it's there. You could put it in bracket also. Just go in the guide one, and you could do continue in French or in another language with a lot of humor. So let's see, continue writing, and I'm going to put it in German. I know German is hard to get in humor, I think, right?
Well, yeah, that's what a lot of people think.
With humor.
So next month will be with
And
comedy theme. No, the
yeah,
month after that will be comedy theme, so that will be hard for my classes.
Dahlia,
Hmm?
do you have a comédien in your language that you think the AI will know?
Not really.
Anyone
I'm not
has
sure if there's
name?
anyone who's really well known. Does anyone one of you think of someone? Oh, Otto, yes, Otto Walkes. Like, now I have to think it. I will write it in the chat.
Let's see if he can give us something like that. So we're going to get here.
Yeah, maybe Otto is enough because that's like the way he's.
Now you have to tell me if he's going to do it in German. He'll do it. He'll do it in French?
That's
to go in.
would be nice to, funny to know if it sounds like. Oh, I have to look.
Content in German with humor. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do it. Let's see if I can change the button.
Yeah. That shouldn't. Maybe DeepSeek Instant isn't so good at this. We would wanted to try Sonnet anyway, so maybe Sonnet knows Otto Walkes. Maybe it helps if you use the full name. Should I write this right? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it doesn't want to do it in German. So we'll
Maybe
have
it's like German humor that doesn't work.
so
There's something wrong about this.
let's put it right here. So write this way. We're going to give him, I'm going to change that to auto.
While we're waiting, there was also DeepSeek question by Peter that it sounds too vivid and pictorial for him. And he wants to steer it in a different direction. And he was wondering if you have any experience in getting DeepSeek to write in a different style. For me personally, it just works right now very well since I'm writing a fantasy story and it's just the very fitting, flowery fantasy language. But if you want to write something different, it may be good to have some ideas how to put it in a different like style. And maybe try adding, interesting, try adding his last name for Otto. That may help.
He doesn't like the auto. So just leave humor in humor.
Yeah. With humor.
Doesn't seem to want to do the German at all on that one. Let's try this.
Oh, that's also a good question. But coming back to the DeepSeek, do you have any ideas how to maybe do that German and it's looking at some narration en français card, so maybe.
Yeah, and I did change it. I asked to write all in German. with humor, DeepSeek. Let's try to change just in case it's stuck into one. No, it's stuck.
But could you take a look at your story Bible, since it's looking at some card in this
The Bible should have nothing in it.
in the word building?
Oh, okay. What I did start something in the world building. So, and let's see. I'm going to show you what I did in the world building in the same time. I know we overcome the hour, so if you want to go, it's fine. I'm just going to show this as a last of this.
We also have another short, or not so short, question about dialect that we may follow up with. Or maybe it works with what you want to show. It's about characters who speak in dialect, and the question if the AI would also understand, be able to write in a Finnish dialect. Like a Finn.
First, I'm going to show you that, and I'm going to answer the question. In the world building, that's probably why I was writing in French. I forgot that I did that. I did create two cards, one write all content in French and one write all content in Italian. And I wanted to show you how that works. I'm going to see if I can create one who says write all content into, where is my, so you go in your custom and you write, I just write all content. You click on it, just don't go enter. You click on this, shows up underneath, and you save. When you go generate, setting, you go find that little card. You don't have to put anything in there. If you had information in your story Bible, it would write information, description of the story inside of it. But because there's nothing, it's going just into the class information I have up here. But they give you basically like this, says the French narrative style contenu in français. So, and then it's giving me that. So in German, so can you read that, Dahlia, and tell me what you see?
German narrative style, deutsche Inhalt, yeah, that sounds good. Diese stilistische Richtlinie erfordert, dass der Gesamtinhalt der Geschichte in zeitgenössischen Standarddeutsch geschrieben wird. Yeah, basically said it should be written in contemporary standard German, like the main story, the dialogues, the descriptions, on any documentations, titles, subtitles, etc.
So it's giving us
Grammatically correct, and yeah, it sounds good. Like
yeah,
a little header that it should follow all the German rules.
exactly. So in Italian, it would give you, basically it's giving you some information about the AI writing in that language. And if you had stuff in the story Bible, like Dahlia's story before, it would give you information about the story. And you can go in here and add to the story, to the word building under this, add description, character, all the information you would like to have in your language just by writing under this, under the word building. So that will look like this. So if we go all content, which one we have here? So we go with the French here. So you can add characters, names, and you could get city names, for example. Cities. You could probably put it in your language also. It doesn't have to be English. Save it as a new, and then go and generate that new card. So it's another way for you to have information about your story. The world building is almost, you can almost replace your character cards at the same time. So I'm going to go in that. So what's that last? I have a character who speak in a dialect, but I have not written it to dialect. We Finns understand many of our dialect, but does the AI care to try? Yes, the AI care to try, and I will explain that. So here's kind of interesting that the information is giving us, telling us about names in
Ah,
French. Yeah, it's giving us
I
information on
think,
how to use it.
yeah. The funny thing is, in every story that I ever had that had French characters, I had a Dubois. And that's also like the first name it put in there.
Exactly. So in character, once you go in your customize, as you can see, even in my character, I have write content in French, write content in English, or whatever. So once your character is speak a different language, add it on. So for me, it's like utter, it's right here, utter language. When you do the utter language, so basically you will go in the bottom and add this character speak in old Canadian French. And that is telling the AI precisely what that person is speaking in what kind of language. So you could add save as new, and I don't have any character, but let's have fun right here. So let's create Manon as a character and see what it's going to do. So it's one place to let the AI to know what kind of language that person is speaking, and you can be precise and you can give example of that language. And normally it goes into your prose when that character is talking. Just keep in mind that most reader, they don't want someone speaking a special language through the whole book. They like to know that the person is speaking funny at the start and you tell them it's speaking funny, but after that you get to kind of lay off on that. So if someone is, how we say that, bégayer, uh, how we say that when you say the in English? When they speak,
But
there's
it
some,
lost for words. I can't
yeah, you
think
know,
of it.
so basically that's what it is. So here's giving me a few things. Let's see my language in the bottom. So mon âme est remplie de contemplation et de réflexion comme les eaux tranquilles d'un lac qui reflète le ciel. So this is a bit old French. I could even go even farther, it says from the 1900 French. And the fact that I know that is because I write a book about my grandfather. The book is in French, but in those days, in 1920, and his father was 18 something that he was born, so their French was definitely not the same as today. So, and by asking directly what year's the language is also telling the AI, by the way, in those days there was no iPhone. So I hope that answers some of that question. Stuttering, exactly, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. So we have passed the hour, so I hope you learned something new. It's always a lot of information we like to teach you, and because Sudowrite is changing so fast, it's not easy to give you all the information in your language in just 1 hour, even an hour and a half. It's never enough because it's too big. So tomorrow I'm teaching in French in at what time is my class tomorrow, Dahlia? I have to
Um,
one.
um, the problem is that I have a different time zone, so it's not pretty helpful if I look up when it's my time.
Right. So tomorrow, my time is at 10 a.m. So I'm in Canada, Toronto hours, Eastern Standard Time. So I'm teaching quick start in French, so as much as information as possible about how to use all the button in French. And at 4 p.m. my time again, I will teach in French erotica. So I welcome anyone to show up and come and have fun with me. And then on Monday is the follow-up of the nonfiction outline. That is the follow-up from the class
Yay.
that we got at the start of the week. There's also a video on YouTube to show you what I did on the first class for the nonfiction. So you can actually, if you show up, you'll know where we are in that class, because it's a series of 2. And then next Monday will be a series of 3 with bio and memoir. So busy with all the update from Sudowrite. At the same time, we try to keep on top to help everyone as much as possible. So is there any quick question we can answer?
Let's see.
I can imagine I can.
Chat looks clear. The question is about credits that Sonnet cost. We haven't answered this yet, I think.
Okay, Sonnet. Sonnet is, let's see what Sonnet is inside this one here. So I'm going to bring my screen up a bit. So Sonnet is in the advanced. I haven't used Sonnet in a long while. That's used to be my favorite one to write with. So Sonnet is very expensive. It's on the 3 usage of credit. But really the DeepSeek, those person at DeepSeek are doing so much more work these days that I kind of drop Sonnet and use those instead. Plus, very soon we will be able to show this one.
Yeah. Next
Monday.
time we're having this class, we'll be able to show it.
Yeah. So
Yay.
in March we can teach Muse. That will also be coming.
Yet a lot of other changes are coming.
Yeah. So
including the comments should be live by then as well, but you have already seen them. So.
Yeah, the comment will be up, and then I think they get rid of the beat, and it's going to be all on the same direction. Is that?
Yeah. That's also starting next. The 27th is the day where this should be released. There will also be a class with Nicole. And in the beginner series, that was changed from beats to scenes. So if you're curious, you could join the class next week. I will be joining as well, since I usually don't work with neither beats nor scene directions. So it would be good primer to be able to answer questions about this.
So if there's nothing else, I will say thank you very much for being with us.